Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on? Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing good. Thursday morning, just a few days away from Christmas, and yeah, let's hang out. Let's see what's going on, and hopefully we'll have some interesting conversations. I think we will. We got some theories to maybe touch upon, some of which come right from you guys. So let's see what we have in the chat. Let's see. Hey, Jen is in the chat. What's up, Jen? Good to see you. All right. Well, what's Nathan's in the chat? I'm not used to waking up this early. It is kind of early, but glad to have you. Glad to have you. Let's see. Hey, we got Val. Val's in the chat. What's going on? Saying we're about to be hit with a blizzard and wow, negative 40 to 50 temps. Wow, that is crazy. Oh my gosh. Well, I hope that that blizzard is not a bad blizzard. I can sympathize with you. Um, wow, you caught me off guard with that. That's well, Val, you have to let us know how you're doing and keep us updated, especially on social media and things like this. But you guys follow the rules. You know what's going on. The general's in the chat. And if you don't, this could happen to you.
Fuck! Oh, well, that's it, isn't it? It's over! You motherfucker!
That's the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard.
All right. And also, I got the notification, Val. It's a channel member anniversary for you. Unbelievable 9 months. Thank you so much for just being so supportive and just awesome, a good friend. And let's see, it says nine amazing months. Congratulations on 20.3K. Nothing stopping you now. Definitely landing among those stars. Well, thank you so much, Val. You're so sweet. Really appreciate you so much. And thank you for all the support, all the great memories, all the great conversations. Seriously, it means more than you know. More than you know. All right. Carrie's in the chat. What's going on, Carrie? Hope you're doing well. Saying good morning, everyone. I was feeling a bit down last night, so decided to watch a gem called Mixed Nuts. Oh, yeah, Steve Martin, Madeline Kahn, Parker Posey. Yes. Gosh, I haven't seen that in a long time. Wow. Good choice, though. Good choice. Um, let's see. And I want to try to catch up with the rest of you guys. We got Denisha's in the chat as well. What's going on, Denisha? Good to see you. We got Extron. Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. And we got Lisa. Lisa's in the chat. Good morning, everyone. Hope you are all having a wonderful week. Thank you so much, Lisa. Hope you are as well. All right. Carrie, my milestone says 8 months, 28 days, so I am close. Oh, you're too funny. Um, and thank you, Carrie. I appreciate that. You're very sweet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, let's see. Um, you guys. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Jen, no. Gosh, what is up with that? Let's see. No, it's called hardworking. Dan's in the chat saying, "Good morning, everyone. A few more hours of work and have a 4-day weekend." Okay, that's cool. All right, congratulations, man. All right. Let's see. Let's see. I think I caught up to everyone. Okay. All right. And thank you, Val, for putting that in the chat. Definitely hit the like button. That helps support the channel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. You guys, Uh, what's up, Kyle? Kyle's in the chat, morning, night, bored at work. Nobody wanted to show up. Really? Wow. Okay. All right. Well, at least you can hang out here. Cole Pond in the chat. It's 3 p.m. here in Ireland. I should be writing, but I'm procrastinating. Don't let me stay in here too long. Okay. Good to see you. Good to see you. Much appreciated. Let's see. I know. I know. I love that clip too, man. It's a funny part. It really is. Lamar's in the chat. What's up? What's up, Lamar? Good to see you. Good to see you. Um, and Gina's in the chat. What's going on, Gina? Good to see you. All right. Very, very cool. All right. Well, guys, one thing I wanted to start off with, because we've talked about it a little bit here and there and on different live streams and stuff, is obviously we had the Scream 6 teaser trailer drop, and it was a fantastic teaser. It really, really was. And we've had a lot of people, myself included, talking about our thoughts and ideas on the movie. What I wanted to do is take some time to talk about what you guys think will be going on in the movie. Any of your big thoughts or theories, hopes and dreams. And I also have a couple of others for from some other people that I wanted to share for with you, I should say. Um, the first thing I wanted to kind of throw out there from myself personally is I think we're finally going to see what a lot of us, and I'm speaking more about myself, but a lot of people have talked about, and that's seeing more ghost face killers. And even with Scream 5, that was a huge thing, are we going to get, at least two killers and a mastermind, or we're going to get three killers or even more? And obviously, as we know, we saw that there were two. At least that's what we know, right? But I think that all roads are leading to a movie where there's going to be more than two killers. Now, there's two ways, technically three ways they could go with it. Obviously, we could have, three killers. One could be a mastermind kind of in the wings, or, and they kind of alluded to it in the teaser trailer, and we've talked about these things too. You could actually have like a cult, a ghost face cult, and that could be, however many killers. And it may not necessarily mean that all of the people are actually murdering people. They could be looting, they could be robbing, they could be, doing those types of things, mugging people in the streets. I mean, being that it's in New York, that would really fit the environment. And also, like in the trailer, when you see multiple people, and we thought that that was going to happen because it's taking place on Halloween. So I think the idea that the real killers could hide in plain sight amongst so many others, I think that that's a strong possibility, and also a clever way for them to keep their identity hidden, because you don't know who's who, you know, and even amongst the people wearing the ghost face costumes, they may not know everyone. So I think that that could be a really cool angle. And I think that looks like it's a real strong possibility. So I wanted to throw that out to you guys first. What you think of that? Is that something that you would want? Is that something that you'd be interested in, or do you think that it would kind of detract from the story? Now, we've talked about this so much that the Scream movies, they are character driven. It's not about Ghostface. It's not necessarily about the murders themselves, but the characters and their interactions, their dialogue, their chemistry, their connection. Of course, in these last several entries, it's about history, right? Because as we've known some of these characters for a longer amount of time, now you're talking about nostalgia, you're talking about history. So the question is, how would they balance that if it is a lot of killers, even if it's just three, that's more than we've seen before, or at least on screen. Um, and so the question is, would they be able to balance it? I would like to think they can, um, but we'll have to see. But tell me what you guys think about it. I'll catch up to you guys in the chat. But yeah, I think that would be really, really interesting, a really interesting angle, having that many Ghostface killers and how it's going to balance with the story. Let's see. Eric saying, "What's up, party people? Just finishing up work for the night and notice the stream going. Hey, what's going on, man? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well." Kyle saying, "Hey, Night, I'm really hoping that the red light voice changer makes a return in six. Wasn't really explained in five." Yes, that would be, yeah, absolutely. I think, and I would like to think all bets are off in this movie, as far as really just going for it. Um, I'd like to see it too. Will we? That's a good question. That's a good question. I would not be surprised if we do see it. Put it that way. Um, Eric saying, "Did you hear the rumor going around yesterday about the flashback?" I have heard about that. Um, you know, here's the thing. Flashbacks can be good if they're done well. I think they can be done really, really well. Um, so I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it as long as it's executed the right way. Let me know what you think about it, Eric. I'm always interested in your thoughts on things like that too. I'm not opposed to it at all. If they can do it right and if it can serve the story, it could be something really, really cool. I mean, you look at the flashback scene and kills. I think that was so well executed. For some people, that was their favorite part of that movie. So if you can do something that is executed right and it really serves the story, I think it's a good thing. It really, really is. I'm surprised we don't see more flashbacks, to be quite honest, especially for these legacy franchises. You don't see flashbacks very often. You really don't, which is surprising. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Harvey's in the chat? What's going on? What's going on? Good to see you. Hope your morning is going well. Um, let's see. Extron saying to Kyle, I'm pretty sure it was just the voice changer inside of the costume. Okay. All right. Um, oh, Colvin saying, I think I'm starting to think the killer might be a Sydney stand and protecting her and could help explain why she's not in it. Would also have worked if she had been in it. Possibly, yeah, possibly. Although I think I don't think they're gonna go that way. They might have been going that way if Nev was in it, but with her not being in it, I think they're gonna mention Sydney. I think there'll be some type of dialogue or something about her, but I don't think they're gonna have a lot of focus on her. Now you could look at it two ways. You could look at it like it's smart to not focus on her as much as possible because obviously that was a lot of um, controversy and a lot of people on one side or the other about Nev was she treated unfairly and so forth. So for some people they may think that it's a smart idea to not do something like this, but then there's some people that may think that that's a great way to kind of go down the middle of the road where you don't get her in the movie but the story still has some strong ties to her. But I don't think so. I don't think they're going to do that because right now anyways, I think Sam, is that focal point in the story. They're going to New York. I'm sure that there'll be, some type of connection that Gail will have because obviously she's in New York. So I think that's more of where it's going to go. But let me know more what you think about that. It's an interesting thought, and it could happen. It could, but I don't think that they would do that more so because of the fact that because Radio Silence said that the script or the story, did was impacted by Nev not being in the movie. Um, so again, maybe they were going to do that, and then they altered it because she's not in the movie. We'll see, we'll see. But it's an interest. I think that this is. I'll be honest. Like I think there's more interesting things going on leading into six, even more so than five. And of course, that was a return to the franchise and the first movie without Wes and so forth. But I think there's so many different factors going into this movie. I think it's even more interesting. It's much more intriguing. There's more controversy and people that are on different sides of the fence with what they want, what they think is going to happen, what they think should happen. So very very cool stuff though. What's up, Danny? Good to see you, man. Saying good morning, night, and chat. I'm a content creator. I'm on content creator schedule editing till 5 a.m. and awoke at 9 a.m. to start my day. Wow. Yeah, man. That's how it goes, man. I think, again, we've talked about this, me and you personally, Danny, but I've talked about it on live streams too. I think a lot of people they just don't understand unless they have to do it. When you're creating content and even doing something like this for a morning show, like, you got 4 hours of sleep, you know, I didn't get much more sleep than that because, I had to wake up and make sure that I'm situated, get the stream started, set up and so forth before I began, just all the different things, make sure I do the things I would usually do in the morning because I'm going to be on here for a couple of hours. So people don't think about those types of things because they don't do it. So I definitely, I definitely understand, um, you know, the grind, the process, and especially when you do it multiple times a week, there's some folks that, they might, do a vid a week or, a couple vids a month or, you know, something like that. But especially when you live streaming is a lot different than pre-recorded because when I'm editing a pre-recorded video, I can do that at my leisure. I can, grind at it, I can take breaks, and I'm not on camera and I'm not actually interacting with people. And when you're on live stream, you don't have you don't have a rewind, you don't have a pause. If you got something that happens, if you've got tech issues, if you have a panel that is really able to overcome their tech issues or anything, it's like a thousand different things that could go wrong. So when you, especially for people that live stream a lot, total respect. Total respect. And it takes energy to do it. People don't realize that too. They think, okay, well, you just come on camera, you're talking about whatever. In this case for us, movies. You love to talk about movies, so what's the big deal? But trust me, it's a grind, man. So much respect. Much respect. Eric saying rumors Dewey is going to be appearing in a flashback from Gale. David was apparently seen on the Ghostface Museum set. Yeah, and we talked about the possibility, of Dewey having either a flashback or something that is, audio, and things like that. I personally have no problem with it whatsoever because I was really sad to see Dewey killed, and I really think that, and I still think it wasn't the best decision, and I definitely didn't think it was executed in a way that I was as happy as I could have been with as a fan, So I'd be all for it. That's a rumor I'd love to see. Yeah, exactly. Val saying the same thing. Extron. Absolutely. I'd love to see it. Um, Jen saying I will believe it when I see it. Okay. All right. Let's see. The light hitting you makes it look like there's two moons on it or a moon and a sun. It does. You're right. You're right. Carrie, also a fan of a Dewey flashback. Yeah, it would soften the blow of him not being there. I agree. I absolutely agree. Michael's in the chat. What's up? What's up? Good to see you. Um, Val also saying, I do like that it's during Halloween and it can be out in the open. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely think that listen, and a lot of you guys, obviously know what New York is like. It's it can be a pretty daunting experience, especially if there's a lot of action going on, which is very common. So I think that all of that can really help the movie with its natural tension and its scenes and how it plays out. And from what it looks like in the teaser, I think that they're going to allow you to really get a sense of that. Like you could even hear the sounds in the background, the sirens, the noise on the street. There were some wide shots. I'm really hoping that they get a lot of that as well, not as close and tight as the shots were in 5. And I think that all of that will just contribute to this movie being something that's not only different, but it could really, I mean, it could really up the ante in so many ways. So like I said, I'm really I really got the faith in this from what we're seeing. Until I see something that otherwise makes me think, oh, they're not really gonna go for it in this movie. But so far, it looks like they're going to be doing things that is really going to make this movie stand out in a really good way. And that's important because I think, when you have a franchise that is rooted in a style and a legacy such as the other four, um, it's tough. I've been talking about that with a lot of friends and other content creators in the last even just several days, because when you have a legacy franchise, you're really bound to a certain blueprint, and that can be a great thing, but it can also be a disadvantage as you have more and more movies in the franchise. So I'm so glad that it's during Halloween, that it's in New York, that it seems like it's a much more open space. Woodsboro, felt very, very, not very, well, it did feel safe. It did feel more safe, small town and so forth. Um, so it's great to be in New York City. So far, so good, anyways. Um, Carrie saying, "Horror B, you have Stu next to you because you're one of us. You're a member." That's right. That's right. Yes, that is true, Horror B. We had memberships that were gifted out by so many wonderful folks in the community. So there you have it. There you have it. Let's see. I want to catch up to you guys a little bit more here. I know that I'm way behind. Let's see. Do, 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 do. And also, let me know what you guys think about, everything being more open in New York. Is that something? Because I think that's one thing that I haven't had a chance to talk about with a lot of viewers. What they think of that. I know that most people seem to be on board with that, but yeah, let me know what you guys think because for some people, having such a different setting, they may not be you know, that into it. I mean, obviously, when you think of things like Scream 3 has had a lot of criticism, some of it justified, and some of it maybe not so much. But, let me know what you guys think about this new setting. Do you think it'll be a good thing or a bad thing? Or do you just not know yet? It's really still early. We don't know a heck of a lot. We're learning more and more, but, you know, um, let's see. Kyle saying, I think they should have someone maybe related to Mickey. That would be cool. It could be cool. I don't think they'll do that. Um, this is what I think, and I know some folks, they may not like this idea, but I think right now we're in the middle. We're going into the middle of this trilogy because we're assuming they're going to do a seven, and I'm sure that they will. So I think that this trilogy is trying to set up the future of the franchise, in the sense of trying to transition away from the past. Obviously, five was deeply rooted in the past, and six looks like it's going to have those ties as well. And we'll see what happens in seven. But I think right now, as it stands with the links that we have to Billy, in five, we're at Stu's house, and obviously bringing back characters from the past like Judy and now Kirby. I think that if they'd have to execute it in a certain way, but like on paper, I don't really want to see anyone else's, cousin of another ghost face and that type of stuff because I think it's just you're going down that well too much. The great thing about Scream is its mythology is pretty much unlimited, because anyone can be Ghostface. Ghostface could be anywhere, could be in any city, any state, and it could be any motivation to do whatever they do. So I think that that's where it's eventually going to go, and I think that's a good thing because it'll allow the franchise to move on and stay fresh or as fresh as it can be being a franchise that's been around for so long. So but again, We'll see. Nothing would surprise me. If someone had told me that they would have had Skeet come back, as a hallucination, as visions, I would have said, I don't know about that, but they did it. So, you know, Nathan saying, I would like for Ghostface to escape for once and not have all of them die in one movie. Exactly. And I think that this movie has the greatest chance for that. I really, really do. I think it would be very cool if, we always have certain things happen in a Scream movie. We have the phone calls, we have, the opening, scene, we have the reveal, the mystery gets solved and so forth. But what about in this movie if there's more than one mystery? What if there's more than one reveal? What if there's a reveal with like, still a little bit of the movie to go and we don't know who the other Ghostface killer is or killers? You know, I think that number 1, that'd be pretty fresh, and number 2, it would be something that's, you wouldn't expect, until you'd see it on the screen, you wouldn't expect that because it's never been done, right? So I totally agree. I think it'd be cool to see a Ghostface escape, and of course, leading us into 7. I think that that would be really, really cool. Trick or Treats in the chat. What's up? Saying the only way a cult of Ghostface would work is if someone from the first 3 or 4 films is the leader, in my opinion. That's true. And I think that that's quite possible. Again, and you guys can let me know here in the live chat. We've talked about this even when we were kind of combing over the teaser trailer. I really think that at this point, and I know what Kevin Williamson has said, and there's been conversations about that, but I really think the breadcrumbs have been laid like hardcore, for Stu's return. It really has. Obviously, there's no guarantee, but to me, what you're saying, Trick or Treat, I agree with. At some, they're pointing towards the past, like big time, you know. Now, it could totally be a red herring in the sense of they wanna make you think that Stu's coming back or someone else or like mentioned earlier, maybe a cousin of Mickey or someone, whatever, they could totally be there just trying to fool us because they've done those types of things before. That's how horror is, right? But I mean, when you think of things like when we look at the title card and we obviously know about the aged mask and things like that, it just seems like a lot of things are pointing towards a return. And to me, the most likely is Stu. That would make the most sense to me. Now, whether or not it happens, I don't know. I really don't know. But I will say this, once we found out that, Kirby was coming back, and of course, when we saw 5, the breadcrumbs were laid, when they had that little screenshot where the video was basically talking about her being a survivor and so forth. And it was kind of like, wow, but we also saw the same thing about Stu and possibilities and stuff like that. So I think that the percentage chance for Stu to return has become greater. It really, really has. And it's getting greater and greater. It was like that in Scream 5. Different conversations that we heard after the movie, and then of course when you see the teaser trailer and stuff like that. So, but we'll see. We will see. Extron saying, "I don't think we need any more relatives." I agree. We don't. We don't. But they may. Carrie saying, "I love all the characters in Scream, so would definitely love more backstories of the characters." Yes. Yes. Dan, will Ghostface Killer be on the soundtrack? Lisa saying, I was trying to come up with wild and crazy theories for this movie, so I went out of the box and came up with this. Kirby is the mastermind behind the cult because she is such a movie buff. She frames Stu, who she knows to be alive. Both are in the next movie, and Stu helps save the day with Sydney. Oh, that's where the twist came in. Wow. Um, That's not a bad theory. That's very interesting. It's definitely interesting. Well, let's talk about Kirby. I do like that theory. It took me on a little journey there just reading it. Um, I think a lot is going to weigh as far as how excuse me, as far as how they portray Kirby, how Hayden plays Kirby. You know, we're assuming, she's not going to be the same character she was in 4. Time changes people, especially as you get older and so forth. But the question is she going to be, a character that's kind of happy go lucky, or is she going to be a hardened character? Is she, holding grudges and all these types of things? Does she just become a dark character, kind of like Dewey did? Things happen in life and you change the way you are. So I think I do agree. Kirby is going to be kind of a barometer for me as far as what I think is going to happen. Do I want to see her as because people other people have said she's just going to straight be a Ghostface killer and not necessarily a mastermind. Do I want to see that? No, I don't. Um, but if it's interesting, if it's done in a way that's good, I could deal with it. Um, it's definitely plausible. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But I do like that theory. It's very interesting. Very cool. Um, Kyle saying, I will never believe Amber killed Dewey. Obviously, I wish it was Stu, but if it wasn't, I'm hoping it's told to us that it's someone more meaningful. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think that, like I said, they've got breadcrumbs laid out. Whether or not, you know, things happen the way we want them to happen, that's a different story. But I agree, having Stu in the background, being the mastermind, pulling the strings, I think it would not only be a cool thing to do, a thing that most fans would want, but it would also explain a lot of things and it would tie up this trilogy. Like this literally could tie up this trilogy, which would hold which would tie up all 7 movies, and then they can move forward from there. They can craft, whole new mysteries and things like that with new characters if they wanted to, which I think at some point they have to do, if we continue to get Scream movies. So having Stu come back, it checks off so many boxes that it's not even funny. And I know some people don't want him to come back. I know some people think, we've talked about it on the Lethal Collective. I know a lot of people think that, well, if he comes back, he's not going to be the same character that we love, that we want to see, and this and that. But I would argue that having Matthew Lillard come back is really what's important, um, and not so much the stew that we remember from '96. Because again, my biggest example is look at David Arquette in Five. He was totally different than Dewey. Totally. Dewey was always the heart. He was always the positive, sweet guy. And he was totally different, you know, in Scream 5. I mean, he had some moments where you saw that side of him, the comedic side of him and so forth, but it was a different Dewey in 5. And I think most people, myself included, I thought it was not only a great moment for David as an actor, but it was a great character development, for Dewey. So, anyways, I just think Stu checks a lot of boxes for all of us as fans, and I think that's where it's leading to. Um, Bearded saying, as much as I love Dewey, I hope it's not done just to get him in. I agree, man. It needs to serve the story. It does. It does. And you can tell when it's done for purpose of the story or if it's kind of done just for some fan service. Like like Candyman, for instance. You know, there were a lot of things happening in that movie that were kind of you thought were happening, in a certain for a certain reason, and then at the very end of the movie, we get the big, swerve, and it was it was okay, but it just felt like it was shoehorned in, you know? Like, it should have been done in a better way, and then that twist or that moment or whatever would have been more impactful, you know? other than just being like a fan service moment where you're like, "Oh, cool," but that whole, "Oh, cool," it wears off, like, thinking about it right now, it doesn't have the same weight that it did when I saw it in the theater, and when you execute a story point, you know, the right way to serve the story, that will last, that'll last, it'll have rewatchability, so, yeah, yep. Um, let's see. Danny's saying, I still can't help but to think Stu is involved. Dewey's murder, Lillard playing the metallic Ghostface in 5, the metallic lettering on the Scream logo, the old worn down mask from 20 plus years ago. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think all the everything points to it. And put it this way, if we don't see him back in 6 or 7. And I think with 6, I don't think he's gonna have a prominent role. I think it either will be alluded to, maybe it'll be a stinger at the end of the movie, maybe it'll be something that's said that you kind of figure out like, "Oh my god, do they mean?" And then in 7, I think is when, he's actually in the movie revealed and kinda doing whatever he's gonna do. But if they don't do this, if they choose to stay away from Stu, which they might, it's totally possible. It's totally possible. But if they choose not to bring him back in this current trilogy, I don't expect to see him come back. I don't. They put it. This is the best chance that they've got to bring him back. You know. Um, Gary saying, Kyle, I'm right there with you. I wholeheartedly believe Amber just took the credit for killing Dewey. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. And Val, thank you so much. Please remember to hit the like button. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Kyle saying, especially when Dewey said, not today. Ghostface says, yes, today. Makes me think it was Stu because last time Stu stabbed him, he didn't die. That's a good point. That is a good point. Yep. Kyle saying, could they show Sydney in a flashback? Would that work? Because she would still be in it, but not in it. They could. They could do that. Will they? I don't know. I don't know. I will say the one wild card in all of this, or at least one of the biggest wild cards for me, was the whole Nev situation. Because we know that she was supposed to be in it, according to what Radio Silence said. Her departure greatly impacted, I believe that's how they worded it, greatly impacted the script, the story. Um, so all of this is just a lot of question marks. We don't really know how they changed the story, to what degree and so forth, how that affects the killers, the motivation, how it affects the other characters. Was there going to be certain important things that were going to happen between Sydney and Gail? You know, so but of course, like we do, we try to think things through, and there's some things that we have for hopes and dreams. Um, but yeah, I think they could do a flashback, but my mindset as of right now, as we start to hear more things and until we get more information, my mindset would be they would probably err on the side of something quick, you know, to mention about Sydney. Maybe it is a flashback, but just something very small. In other words, I don't think they're gonna talk about Sydney a lot in the movie or mention her or you know what I mean? I think it's gonna be something that's pretty quick. And I think part of that is because of the controversy and also the fact she's not in the movie, and I think they are going to try to have this movie stand on its own 2 feet as much as possible, which is a gamble. But it's also something that they have to do. They're in a situation where they have to do because, as far as we know now, maybe it's happened behind the scenes, but as far as we know, you know, we're not going to see Sydney again. So they have to kind of stand on their own 2 feet right now. And fortunately for them, this is something else that I've talked about a little bit, but they might be in the best situation they could have ever hoped for. As far as not, dealing with Sydney's departure because they are bringing Kirby back, which has been a huge want from the fan base since 4. Um, they have Samara Weaving in the movie, and she's obviously huge. And also you have Jenna Ortega, she's like killing it. She's just on fire. There's going to be so many fans that are going to come in, especially from Wednesday and stuff like that. So I think this is about as good of a situation that they could have hoped for, doing a movie without Sydney in it. So yeah, yeah. Carrie, also mentioning, and I know she's talked about this before, she was thinking the same thing about what Ghostface was saying, especially since Ghostface says it's an honor. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it definitely could lead right to Stu. Yep. Um, let's see. Hey, what's up? Kale's in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. Lisa saying, hitting that like button and on the way out, off to work, 11 to 7 at the grocery store. I'm sure everyone already has their food for the week and it'll be boring. Hope you all have a fabulous day. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I hope your day goes well too. Yes. Let's see. And Dominic's in the chat. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. And Dan saying, back to work. Happy holidays. All right, man. Happy holidays to you too. All right. Let's see. Ben's in the chat. 9 degrees this morning. Wow, that's cold, man. Perfect time to have the holidays off. Stay in and watch Christmas horrors. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Very, very cool. No doubt about that. Let's see. Coops in the chat. Hi guys, just got a haircut. All right. Michael saying Gail could die in Scream 6 or Scream 7. She could. Obviously we saw Dewey die, so I mean anything could happen. But I don't want to see her die in 6. Depending on how 6, pans out with the story, yeah, maybe in 7, but if we see um, you know, these OGs killed off in every movie, it just reminds me so much of like Star Wars, It's like I don't know. It just seems like let's let somebody live. And granted, if we don't see Sydney come back, obviously she's alive, so we've got that. But it just would seem too. I don't know. It just seems too. I don't know. It just bothers me a little bit. If they did it in the right way, maybe that's one thing. But you kill Dewey in 5, and you kill Gale in 6, and it's like, okay, we killed Judy. Are we gonna kill Kirby? It's like, all right. Can anyone live for the rest of their lives, their natural lives? But yeah, they could do it. They could do it. I don't know. Extron saying, I may not agree because I felt it was the right time for Dewey to die, but I do agree that a flashback of Dewey would be awesome. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think if they were going to kill him, I wish they did it in a different way. You know, the whole idea of going to the elevator and knowing that I know they played it off like, no, I got to make sure he's dead, right? But as soon as he told them that, to go and the elevator door shut, I knew they were gonna kill him. I knew they were gonna kill him. So I just wish they had done it in a better way, maybe even something heroic. Maybe he was saving, Sam or Tara, or maybe he was saving Gail at the end of the movie. I think that would have been a better way for Dewey to go out, because as soon as the elevator door shut and he turned around to the hallway to go back to face Ghostface, the whole theater was like, "Don't do it." Or, heard some people say, "No, you idiot," and it's like, yeah, Dewey, give him more credit. He's a little bit smarter than that. You know, maybe should have shot him in the head right then and there before even going to the elevator. I don't know. I just think the way they did it was, I think I didn't want him to die, but I might have had even more problem with how he died. So, but it's done now. So there's there's nothing we can do about it now. Michael saying, I don't think I want a flashback of Dewey. Okay. All right. Kale saying Dewey's death was the hardest hitting character death in a long time for myself. Would love a touching flashback with him in six. Yeah, it was really tough. It was really tough. Um, it was tough for me. We were in the theater, and we got a little emotional of it too. And when I met David Arquette at the con in August, man, you could just and we know that because we heard some of his comments about how he didn't even know about the kill, in the beginning. So he definitely he definitely didn't want to die. We did hear someone when he was signing autographs saying, "Did you want to die going back to the killer like you did?" And he said, "No." So it's like I agree, man. I think if he was saving someone, like and not only that, but maybe I don't know. He died. What was it like? Halfway through the film, maybe 45%, 40% into the movie, and at least let him get to 70%. You know what I mean? He's an OG. Let him save someone. I think personally, if there was, an attack and Gail was involved and he saved Gail, I think that would have been, picture perfect. And some people may say, well, of course he's gonna die saving Gail, but I think when you have these characters that have been in these movies for so long and they're so revered, you either want to send them out in a way that makes sense for their character or in a way that kind of is like, oh, wow, Um, and again, as soon as he turned back around, I was like, no, 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 so that's just me though. What's up, Denisha? Saying night, love morning coffee at work listening. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hope you're doing good. I know you like to listen to us when you're at work. All right. Um, Kyle saying, "What's Night? What's your personal opinion on how they could bring Stu back? Do you think they should have a stand in a flashback and show how he escaped the house in '96 or got arrested?" Um, I think they could. Well, first of all, I don't know if they're going to do that in six. My feeling of it is he would be alluded to or maybe a reveal at the end of the movie, near the end of the movie. So I don't think that they're going to have time um, to have a flashback of that unless maybe near the end of the movie, which, now thinking about it, that doesn't really work either because some people have talked about a flashback of Sydney and stuff like that. If they were going to combine some things, but I don't think they'll do that. I really don't. Um, if they have a flashback, I think it would be something that they show in 7, and I'd be fine with that, if they did it right. Like you said, maybe showing how he escaped the house, or got arrested. I think there's so many ways that they could do this. I think that's a good thing, though, because a lot of people say, "Well, how would he still be alive?" And of course, for a lot of you guys, on live streams, on the Lethal Collective, we've talked about that a lot on the People versus Stu Macher, on Craven Something Scary's channel. We talked about that like ad nauseum, all the ins and outs, all the ways that he could have survived, and so forth. Um, so it'd be interesting to see how they handle it. But I do think the good news for people that do want to see Stu come back is that there's a ton of ways that it can be explained and that it's plausible, absolutely plausible. If it's a flashback, I'd be fine with that. I really do. Do I think they're going to use a flashback? Let me just make sure I answer that maybe a little bit better. Do I think they'd use a flashback in 6 or 7? Um, I don't know. I don't know if they would use a flashback to explain it. I think it could be something where there's some talking about it for sure, because it does have to be addressed, because of course, there's a lot of people in the fan base that don't think he's alive and don't think it's plausible that he'd come back. So it'd have to be explained. I don't know if it'll be a flashback or not. I'd be fine with it though. Yeah. Let's see. Michael, Do you have coffee today? I do. I do. And it's good. Gotta have morning coffee, man, because it is early. Um, Danny saying making content is a grind. I stream 3 days a week. Plus, I have 2 podcasts that I do on top of making pre-recorded content as well. right after each of my streams, I edit clips for social media. Yeah, man, it's people, like I said, people that don't do it, they may not realize it's literally hours of work. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not doing something that's channel related. And that's just how it has to be. If you're going to try to be successful, on YouTube, you have to do that. You have to have a history of content. You have to fight the algorithm. You have to show YouTube that you are a content creator with, you know, stuff that you're putting out routinely. And that's how you do it. You have to do it that way. There's no other way unless you hire someone else to do it for you. And I'm sure, most of us, especially in this community, we don't do that. I mean, that's first of all, it's expensive, but also it takes away your creativity into your content, because there are times I'll be editing something or planning something or doing whatever. And there's times when instead of doing one thing, I choose to do something else because I have an idea or I want to do something different or I want to express something a little differently. So it is a grind, man. And it's not even just what you physically do like that, but I'm sure Danny, you can, relate anyone else that does YouTube, but it's also a mental thing too. I mean, have you ever had a night where you wake up because you're thinking about content or how to change it or do something else? Like that happens to me. So it's a mental thing too, when you're doing other things and you're thinking about it. And so people don't realize that. So for anyone that does it, any of my friends, a lot of you guys here in the live chat that do it, it's total respect. It really is. It really, really is. Kale saying, I love the New York setting. I think it fits the franchise well and can't wait to see Ghostface moving around a crowded city. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Carrie saying the same thing. More creativity. I agree. Yep. But also saying wouldn't mind if Scream 7 ties back into Woodsboro, though. Yeah, I would. It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if, kind of what we're talking about here, some of our theories, some of the tie-ins to possibly Stu and so forth. It would not surprise me if in this trilogy it ties back to Woodsboro. Obviously 5 started with Woodsboro. We were at Stu's house itself, and I think again, to me, it's a perfect way for this trilogy to tie it up and also ties up all 7 of these movies. And going back to Woodsboro, of course, would do that. Yeah, absolutely. California sucks. That's why Woodsboro Police is so crappy. Oh my gosh. Well, there's some truth to that. Harvey saying, I thought that's what the icons meant, but I didn't even know I was gifted a membership. That's so awesome. Tears, heart, love this channel. Well, I'm glad that you were able to be gifted a membership. It's really, really cool. And yeah, it's really, really cool that folks in the community do such generous things like that. So it's really cool. Yeah. Val saying, I would love that. 3 killers, 1 or 2 reveals, and leave one unknown. Exactly. I think this could be, excuse me. I think that this could be, um, this could be monumental for this franchise and for horror in general. I mean, can you imagine if this story, and again, there's a lot of ifs. Imagine this, guys. We're in New York. From what we see in the teaser trailer and everything we've heard, it looks like you're really going to get a sense of them being in the city. You're going to get a sense of the enormous landscape. Lots of people, lots of possibilities, lots of mystery. Could you imagine if we get that, we get good characters, as far as, how they connect with each other. We get some good kills. And imagine if we get a good mystery that has a twist, multiple reveals, and at the end of the movie, we feel satisfied, but yet there's still questions. You know, I mean, that would be just awesome. That would be like such a great Scream movie, you know? I mean, and I think it's possible that they can do it. I really, really do. Whether they do or not, we're going to find out. We're going to find out pretty soon. But that would be so cool, to have all those elements, a really good mystery. And of course, the reveal. making the reveal good. That's a big part of it as well. You know, the movies that are the strongest in the franchise, and they're all good movies. Um, but the movies that are strongest in the franchise, the reveal is really good. So having that reveal being good and also knowing that, one got away or there's someone else out there, and we don't know, we have questions, for anyone that is a fan of cliffhangers. I mean, when you leave that theater and you're constantly thinking, what if, oh my gosh, what's going on? To me, that's a great thing because that means, I'm so invested in what I just saw, but I'm also super invested in what I'm going to see in the future. And the couple of times that there were cliffhangers that I've seen in movies, whether it's Back to the Future or it's The Matrix or whether it's, Avengers Infinity War, Harry Potter, when you have a cliffhanger at the end of the movie or unknown, you don't know what's going to happen next, like there's question marks, like, oh my God, and then the screen fades to black. Man, people get pumped up, you know. I mean, they really, really do. At the end of Avengers Infinity War, the whole theater was just like, what? It's like, what's going to happen? Oh my gosh, so I think it's a really cool thing we've never seen in a Scream movie, and I'd love to see it. I absolutely would love to see it. Um, Dominic saying, I'm sorry, Stu is dead. He could be. He could be. But I just think there's a lot of breadcrumbs. Again, it could be totally that Radio Silence is fucking with us. It could be. Um, and I wouldn't begrudge them because part of it now, of course, hopefully they can, if they're making us think that he's coming back and he's not, then hopefully what they've got in place is as good or stronger than Stu coming back. So that's the other thing too. You gotta hit a home run. So we'll see though. We'll see. Horby saying, I read a theory that it could be the mask Dewey found in 96 and it's found in a box of his things, possibly by Gail. I think it could be Billy's, and Sam gets some of his possessions from Billy's dad. Could be. Yeah. I haven't heard that particular theory. I did hear that it could be the mask from 96. But the only thing about that, well, no, it could happen, I guess, because you're saying found in a box by Gail. That could happen. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Imagine someone dies in Scream 6. Such a big twist, right? Yes. What's up, Miss C? Miss C's in the chat. All right. Carl, what's going on? Saying, ooh, you're live. Hey, from the UK. What's going on? What's going on? JT, what's up? Horror Boys in the chat. What's up, all? All right. Dominic saying she is probably going to be a dark character. Are we talking about Kirby? Could be. Yeah. And we have talked about that a little bit too. Val, thanks for putting the link for the merch store in there. I agree. It is a great time to grab something for Christmas and definitely for the cold weather. As you well know, Val, the hoodies are functional, they do keep you warm. Gary said, I mean, I see her being darker because she was betrayed by Jill, who was her supposed best friend, and Charlie, a love interest, although I saw the relationship more so like a cat and mouse, not really love. Yeah, good point. She could be. Um, yeah, but we'll have to see. I don't have any problem with that at all. Um, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Carrie saying people forget that Matthew Lillard can bring a whole new layer to Stu that we will love even more. Absolutely. That's exactly what I was saying. Matthew's acting is so elevated. If anything, he'd make Stu even better. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. Look, I can tell you, and I keep going back to David, but it's true. I was a huge Dewey fan through those movies. I thought he was always just a fun character. But I'm not going to lie, man, seeing him in 5, with that edge to him, being a little darker, grizzled, um, it was cool to see, and I wish I could have seen more. I really, really do. So you're absolutely right. If David Arquette can do that, Matthew Lillard can totally do that. I think Matthew is so talented as well. So he could do things with that character that could change the whole fandom for Stu. So I think, and you're right, I think people do forget that. They do forget that because yes, we love that 96 version of him, but if he returns and if he's allowed to do some interesting things, he could become, that character could become something so much better, so much more, you know. Um Dominic saying Scream 5 Dewey was dark, but also had the light in him, so he wasn't completely lost. No, not at all, or he wouldn't have helped anyone. So yeah, like I said, he still had some moments where he had a little bit of his comedy or comedic tone. He wasn't a jerk, but he definitely wasn't, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed like he had been in the other movies. So I think that was interesting to see, and it was realistic. People people do go through things. So the fact that him and Gail, didn't work out, it made absolute sense. And I think it was also something that it was good for Gail as well, you know. And we'll see what happens with her in 6, but I do think it was something that was good for both characters. I just wish that some way, somehow, if he were to have died, which he did, obviously, but I wish that if he was going to die in 5, it would have been done a bit different. And maybe it could have been something where, him and Gail either had another scene together, or maybe, like I said, him saving Gail or doing something like that, some type of reconciliation of sorts. Yeah. Um, Horby saying, I think it's Mindy's death that will bring everyone back. I think the clip in the trailer was her death at the end of 6, and 7 starts at her funeral, explains that Martha Meek's coming back. It could be. It could be. Or we could be being faked out. Of course, I will say, based upon what we saw in the Scream 5 trailer, I no longer will believe that they wouldn't show a major character being killed. So that definitely could have been, they could have been showing Mindy being killed, which I think I just don't think they should do that type of stuff. But, I don't make the trailers, but it could be. It could. Stan's in the chat. What's up? Saying they should kill Sydney first, or should have killed Sydney first before Dewey. Um, maybe, but yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us ever saw that coming. At least not, with 5, that definitely wasn't going to happen in 5. I think we all knew, and I talked about that in tons of videos about how there was no way that Sydney was going to die in 5. No way whatsoever. I thought Gail was going to die, but I was wrong. Nathan saying, I liked that part at the end, the Candyman 2021 freaking jaw dropped. Yeah, yeah. And we all felt that way too. Yep. Yep. Although I wanted to see more though. I wish they had gone down that path a little bit more. I think it could have been really cool because the whole myth, we're not talking about Candyman now, but I've talked about it a lot, especially when we reviewed it and had discussions on the movie after we saw it. I just think they could have done more um, to kind of tie all that in, but there were choices made for different reasons. So, what's up, Ed? Ed's in the chat. Happy holidays, night and all. Happy holidays to you too, Ed. Hope you're doing well. Hope everything's going good. Good to see you here. We're just sitting here, we're just talking about some theories. Obviously, we're still um, having debates and discussions off of the Scream 6 teaser trailer and what we want to see in the movie, and it's really cool stuff, man. It really is cool stuff. Good to see you, man. Let's do this. And I know Ed doesn't mind. So let's play an Ed Harris clip because Ed Harris is in the chat. Here we go.
Treat her right, treat your mother right. Treat her right, treat her right. Treat her right, treat your mother right. Treat her right, treat her right.
M is for the moan and the miserable groan from the pain that you felt when I wasn't born.
There it is. So happy holidays to you too, Ed, as well as everyone else here or anyone watching the replay. And what's up, Alex? Alex is in the chat saying maybe Chad could really beat up the killer in Act 3 if Mindy is killed. Maybe. Maybe. If she's killed, I mean, they've got to have good character development for Chad, no doubt about it. You know, he's definitely got to have some moments with a lot of weight. That would make sense, and it'd be good for his character. Carrie said, "Hey Ed Harris, don't let go." Ah, yes. Carl said they would still have to pay Nev if they use flashback footage and get her permission. That's true. That's true. So I don't know. Who knows? I mean, they might have Sydney flashback. They might. Mega Giants, what's up? Saying night. Mikey Madison said in an interview in February that her character Amber wore platform shoes. Yep. During Dewey's death scene, that was about 4 to 5 inches to make it seem real. Yeah, I heard about the platform shoes. Of course, and we've said this many times. When you're thinking about like when when Ghostface is killing and so forth, you can't really always put stock into, the height and body and stuff like that anyways, because you have, doubles underneath of the costume. So, but I did hear about that, that she mentioned the 4 or 5 inches for the platforms. That's right. Um, let's see. And I gotta catch up. Carrie, right? It's true. It's true. It's true. Kale saying, I imagine the easiest way to do it is they say we need Sydney's help, but can't find her because her and her family went into hiding after 5 and can't be contacted, mostly to protect her kids. Yeah, it's true. And Danny talking about Kirby being an FBI agent in 6. Yes. Yep. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like, which I think is a really cool thing. I think it's a cool angle, and I'm really hoping, and I think it will happen, that Kirby will have an interesting character arc, no matter what happens, whether she's straight up a regular character, or if there's a darker tone to her. So I'm so glad she's coming back, and I think Hayden, I think can really have a good part in this movie. Yeah. Jen saying, I did not think Nev would come back for 7, but since her series was canceled, it is possible. Yeah, it is possible. I agree. Daisy's in the chat. What's up, Night? What's going on? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, hope you're doing well. We're almost at Christmas. It's crazy. Dewey's death was too mapped out. They made it too obvious, like he had an obvious death wish. Exactly. As soon as he turned around, I was like, yep, they are going to do it. Because I really didn't think that they were. And oh my gosh, jeez. I'm telling you, I'm just thinking about it right now. I remember just being like, they're gonna kill him. Wow. It's crazy. Yep. Let's see. And I gotta catch up to you guys. I'm way behind. And we'll also do some other stuff I wanted to do too, as we do some other talk. Dominic saying, I'd like there to be a twist that Dewey was accidentally involved in the original Scream killings. Billy came to Dewey for help, but lied to Dewey when he said the whole killings were pranks. I don't know if they'd do something like that. You know, if Dewey was still alive, in the movies, maybe something like that could be interesting if done right. But now that he's dead, I don't think they would do that. I think that would kind of sully his character too much. Um, it's possible, but I think it'd just be too complicated. I think, when push comes to shove, simplicity is best, and we're already got different things going on. Kirby's back, obviously Sam. We don't know to what extent Sam is going to be portrayed as far as her dark side and so forth. And if there is multiple Ghostface killers, and or I should say a mastermind. I think there's a lot of things going on, and just like with 5, I think the issue with 5 is that we didn't get we didn't get enough time with the characters, as far as some development, because there was just so many characters. You had these new characters, you had the OG3. So, and of course, unfortunately, five, was cut by 27 minutes or whatever it was. And I think it would have been cool to have had that extra time to be with the characters so it meant more when things were going on with them. So I don't know if they do that with Dewey, you know. Dominic saying Dewey would be promoted to sheriff, then he realizes everything Billy and Stu did was real. Hmm. Yeah, but when he was promoted to sheriff, well, unless you're saying that they would kind of retcon some things, maybe, but I think it'd just be too complicated, you know. I think it'd be too complicated to do. Marquis saying, or a flashback of how Kirby survived. Um, they could do that. I don't know. Like I said, they could do a flashback, whether it's of Sydney, if there is a Stu reveal, maybe a flashback of him, could be a Kirby flashback. I don't think they're going to rely a lot on flashbacks. It could be just be, dialogue. But we'll see. Carrie said, can we have an after credit scene? Just see Stu's house and then hear a voice, I'm home. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. You never know. It's possible. That would be bonkers crazy though. It would get the theaters hyped. It really would. I can imagine it right now. I think that would be a cool thing in the sense of just to get the fan base hyped up, for the next movie. Like I said, a cliffhanger, or if it's an after credit scene or something like that, or mid credit scene. Um, I think it'd be a good idea because it really would get people just pumped for seven. What coffee creamer do you use? The world needs to know, or I need to know. Um, Coffee mate, usually vanilla or hazelnut. So there's the big mystery. Carrie, you're too funny. What's up, Tori? Saying good morning, gorgeous people. Good morning to you too. Um, let's see. I know I'm way behind. Kale saying the poster says New York, new rules. Any ideas on what those new rules are? I mean, I think part of it is the fact that you're gonna have multiple Ghostface, you know, and I think you're gonna have some that are just using Ghostface as a disguise to do whatever they do, whether it's mugging people, looting. Obviously, the scene that we saw in the store with the shotgun, I think that that's going to be, something like that. And I think that's what they mean by new rules. But I think more than that, it's just a play on the franchise, and also a play on the fact that they're in New York. You know what I'm saying? As far as kind of just changing up the tagline a little bit. But it's cool because it works. It works. I really do like that as a tagline. Let's see. Gina saying that's why I just put the odd video of Ziggy on my channel. I hate computers and I wouldn't have the patience to edit and do lives. Yeah, it takes a lot of patience, and I get it. Not everyone can do that. But it's not even just the patience of it. Like you have some folks, um, they might have the patience to do it like once in a while, maybe once, a, a week or every other week. But, if you're really, trying to have a certain level of success with it, you have to do it a lot. You really do. Um, and that's what's tough. Excuse me. That's what's really tough about it, is because you're constantly in that cycle. You're constantly in that cycle and you're always like on a schedule. It's literally like a job. I mean, depending on what people do for their content, it's a passion, of course. It's a creative outlet and a way to express yourself, but you have to manage it in a certain way, or else you'll never have any consistency. So it is like a job. It truly is. But I get it, Gina, because it it takes a lot of patience. It really does. And that doesn't even take into account, like you said, you hate computers and stuff like that, and you don't like to edit, you got to make sure that you have your devices, your computer, your software, and you have to pay for those things in a lot of instances, and upkeep, and stuff like that. So there's truly a lot to it. I would have never thought there was as much involved in it. I would have never thought that until I had to start doing it. Yeah. Horror Boy saying Haddonfield PD is corrupted as hell. It is. It truly is. It truly is. Tori is saying New York, new rules means no rules. New Yorkers do whatever they want. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yep. I like that. That's a good way to look at it too. Carrie saying I would love them to dig deeper into Roman. We don't know that much about him, and he was the one who started it all. Can we have a more appreciation for the one who carried a whole film as the killer? Yeah, look, they could, you know. I think it's obviously going to be Stu or something that is tied to Roman in some ways, shape, or form, as far as like, you know, a connection to the past. But I agree, Roman definitely deserves a little bit more credit. I'm a fan of Scream 3, as you know, Carrie. And I know a lot of people have issues with it, but I think Scream 3 is really fun. So that would be cool. Dominic saying the two killers die and the one killer escapes, and we don't know who that is. I think that would be great. I think that would be great. Um, I don't mind cliffhangers as long as it is not forced. I agree. And blows my mind. Deathly Hollows when Voldemort is hovering over Dumbledore, grabbing the Elder Wand. We knew shit was about to hit the fan. Yes, yes, I agree. And it really gets you hyped up for the next movie, you know? Alex saying, what if they do three killers? Two can be revealed and be the main thread of the film. The third is an overarching antagonist observing what's happening. They can work for the cult and get away. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying could be happening. Yes. And Val, thank you so much. Definitely, if you are not a channel member and you'd like to be, just hit the join button next to the subscribe. And I haven't even announced this to channel members yet, but we do have an exclusive get together. We're trying to plan with a bunch of friends and guests and so forth. We're aiming to look to do it next week. So that's definitely going to be a fun thing to do. Obviously, the holidays is happening this weekend, so everyone's going to be, spending time, with family and friends and so forth. Some people will be working. I'll be working, but that's another story. But yes, if you are not a member, definitely consider. We do have some fun things that are going to be planned, and we do get a chance to hang out with each other fairly regularly, just us. So thank you, Val. I appreciate you putting that there. I really do. Um, and yes. And if you're on an iPhone, click that link. Yes. Thank you so much, Val. And it's funny because I still hear people that have asked me about that, and then they are iPhone users. So the iPhone still has issues with not having the join button right there. So yeah, you can click this link if you're an iPhone user. Nathan saying, Knight, do you think Hank Loomis is still alive? Will he be in 6 or 7? Potentially. Him finding out Sam's his granddaughter and all. What could they do if they went that route? It's possible. I don't know if he's going to be in 6 or 7. We've talked about that a little bit too. If they bring him in, obviously you open up a whole new avenue of different things as far as being tied to the past and revenge and all these types of things. It's possible. I don't think so though. I think that they're going to try to, as much as possible, you know, move forward. If there are ties to Stu, if he returns, that's one thing. Obviously, Sam is Billy's daughter, so they've already got that established as a direct tie to the past. If there's something that tie, kind of like what Carrie was saying earlier, if there's something that ties into Roman, that could kind of work because he started it all. Um, and I guess you could look at Hank in the same way, but I don't know. I don't know if they'd bring him back in 6 or 7, you know. But it'd be interesting if they did. I'd be okay with it, you know. Let's see. And I'm almost catching up here. Um, Carrie saying Stu could go after Sam because Stu realized Billy only used him to make his plan move forward to exact revenge on Sydney. Absolutely. And that's exactly a big thing why, fortunately for the story, and again, this is something that's been talked about a lot too. Stu can make a comeback, in these movies, even if Sydney is not, a part of what's going on. So, and it's obviously through Sam and the fact that she's Billy's daughter. I mean, that's just like that's an easy angle that they could use. So, I think it's very possible, very, very possible. You guys, Mr. T. Oh my God. Ed Harris shows up in Scream 7, showing a video from the Nightwatch Zone talking about a ghost face, then plays Treat Her Right as a commercial break. Oh my God, that'd be funny. Carrie says, I'm using coffee mate hazelnut with a splash of oat milk, just in case you were wondering. Well, see, now that's really cool. So we have a lot in common. I'm not using the oat milk, but I do use coffee mate. So all right. Very cool. Let's see. I know I'm way behind. Let's see. Hey, Melissa's in the chat. What's going on? What's going on? Dominic saying I edit on my phone. Yeah, I mean, it's fortunate. We're fortunate that we can do that. Yeah. Yep. Um, let's see. Mega Giant saying Radio Silence said in their most recent interview that when asked about Nev not coming back, Matt said there'll be more focus on character development in 6. And that's a good thing. We need that. No doubt. We need that. And that was something that for me in 5 was a bit lacking because they just had so many characters. They really, really did. And they didn't have enough runtime. So I'm hoping that is true. We'll be finding out soon. What's up, Steven? Steven's in the chat, craving something scary himself, saying, hey, Night, hey, chat, working on content, but had to stop and jump in to say hello. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well, man. Let's see. Carrie saying, I'm not saying bring back Roman. I'm thinking you can only fake your death once, but would love more love for him and have the next killers tie into him somehow. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I don't think bringing him back is even on the table. But maybe some tie-in. Yep. Yep. Let's see. And I am almost caught up here. Almost. Do, 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 do. Jen saying, I like the idea of Sam being kidnapped and brainwashed by Stu to kill. It's possible. It's possible. I don't know though. I don't know. I don't know if they'd have enough time to do that in 6. You know, I just don't know. But anything is possible. The one thing we do know is that it could work because of her dealing with her illness, and kind of having that edge, and getting close to that darkness, especially like what we saw at the end of 5. So having Stu coming in and kind of being almost like that Hannibal Lecter type of character, the whispering in her ear and so forth, that could be interesting. It really could. But the only thing about it, though, is would they have enough time to do that? Would they have enough run time to really, deliver on that plot? Because I wouldn't want if they did something like that and they didn't give it enough time to breathe, then I would think it'd be a missed opportunity. Because you could really get some great scenes with Matthew really getting into, some awesome dialogue. Again, I think of Silence of the Lambs, being that whisperer in the ear. So if they do something like that, I hope they would give it enough time to really develop. I really, really do. Horror saying maybe Hank is on Gail's morning show because he wrote a book about being the father of a serial killer. So many possibilities. It's true. Yeah. And that'd be a great tie-in, between him and obviously the past and Gail. That's a great point. It's a great point. Um, Colpan saying, I don't think they should go back to Woodsboro unless they film in Santa Rosa. 4 and 5 look nothing like the town in 1. And also the way it was shot, right? Like 5 definitely, it just, and I mean, granted, it's a new crew, right? It's new directors, so it's gonna look different, but I kind of missed that feeling that we had, in the earlier movies. Um, let's see. Oh man. Melissa saying, I don't care for Scream 2 or 4. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Kale saying, I love Scream 3 as well. Melissa, it's my favorite right behind the first. It's close. All right. It's good to see some love for 3. I think 3 gets a bum rap. I think there's a lot of fun stuff in 3. Kale saying, I think Sam's character is very interesting and curious to see if she goes fully evil and puts the mask on and hangs out with her Vision Daddy more. I don't know if she'll go fully evil. I don't really want her to though, you know, because I think that, we've kind of seen that story before, someone that's dealing with, some illness and it just turns them into a psychotic killer. I mean, obviously if it's executed in a way that's fresh, and Melissa has some weight in her scenes and stuff, it could be good. But I don't know, if I want to see her just become a ghost face killer, but hey. um and Steven saying, Night, something I've been mulling over is whether or not radio silence is giving a clue in plain sight with the Roman numerals for 6 and possibly a sign that this ties into Roman or Scream 3. Just an idea. It's funny you say that because, and even when we were watching the teaser, we talked about how, and I'll put it up on the screen too, how that title card, it just stands out, right? I mean, it's a very good looking title card. And you've got the mask right there. And of course, when the slash happens, and you've got the Roman numeral, um, it's true. It definitely could have been like a little Easter egg there, a little bit of a hint. It could be. And I personally would have no problem with it whatsoever, and I think Carrie was talking about it earlier, is that, Roman and Scream 3, they need a little bit more love. They really, really do. And I definitely think that if they do it right, I'd be all for it, dude. I'd be all for it. Um, so it would not surprise me whatsoever. It's either gotta, this is the way I look at it, and I said it a little bit earlier. I don't know if you were in yet when I was saying it, Stephen, but to me, with ties into the past, it's either gotta be Stu, which obviously is the, to me, the more possible way they're gonna go. It's either gonna be Stu or it's gonna be Roman, you know. Um, so yeah, I agree with you, man. Absolutely. No doubt at all. Um, let's see. Dominic saying Scream 3 is number 2 for me, right next to the Scream original. All right. Very cool. Carrie saying, I'm not expecting more from Sam. Seeing her acting in Bed Rest, I'm not expecting much. Only way she would sell me is if she does go full dark. Her killing Richie was the one time I was rooting for her. Yeah, yeah. And we've talked about that. It's too bad, because, in that moment, I think she was definitely, you know, um, just kind of alive. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but she just seemed, there was a certain energy there. And I'd love to see her character show more of that. Not, I don't necessarily want her to go dark, but if she did, and maybe this could turn around the connection I'd have with the character, I guess I'd be on board with that. Yeah. If that mask is Roman's, I would love that. Like I said, it's got to either be Stu or Roman, right? I mean, whose else would it be? You know. Hey, what's up, Katie? Katie's in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. JD or Mickey's mom. Could you see it right now? Mickey's mother. If they did something like that, man, we all know Jake would be freaking out. He'd probably like throw his shit at the screen. Oh Lord, that was good. Thanks, JT. That was a good laugh, man. Seriously. Oh gosh. Oh man, that was good. Happy Thursday to you too, Katie. Now I got that playing in my head. Mickey's mother. Sam was just stepping into her character like a glove when she was passionate and enraged. Yeah. Dominic saying, what if it's both Roman and Stu? Hey, you know, it's possible. I mean, because especially Roman, Roman is the key, the figurehead, basically. Yeah. If he had a mom. You guys are all right. That's great. All right, so look, let's do this too. I wanted to throw this out at you guys as we are here an hour and a half into the stream. And you guys have come up with some really great theories. This is actually amazing. We talked about a lot of great theories, and we talked about a lot of things that are interesting and tied into not only the teaser trailer, but into the franchise in general and the possible future. So great job to you guys for doing that. I think it was really, really cool and interesting. But let me throw out a couple of other things to you guys for some fun, and we might even do a game as well too. But first of all, because especially with a lot of talk about Scream and also horror in general. The other night, or I should say Tuesday night, we did our Sins edition of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And of course, that's always an interesting conversation for fans. But one thing that kind of came to my mind as a question specifically, and I figured it'd be a great time to ask, is on my Thursday morning stream. So I'll put this up first. For you guys, what is your worst horror movie experience? What is your worst horror movie experience? And when I say that, and I don't just mean that you watched a bad movie and it's a crappy ass movie, but it might be a movie that you really either had some type of expectation with and it wasn't met, and also why. What's your worst horror movie experience and why? But it also could be, it could be a theater experience, it could be something that totally changed a character, or it could have changed the franchise, or maybe it was something that just totally took you out of the moment, a story arc or something like that. So I'm going to put that up for you guys to start talking about as well. And Katie, thank you so much. Oh, man. JT, you're welcome. Thank you. Steven saying, I also think that the aged mask is possibly from Scream 4. Compared all the masks side by side, and it really looks like it may be from 4. So that opens another box of possibilities. That's true. That's true. That would open up a whole nother avenue. Now, here's the question too, because and a lot of people have been talking about it, and I know Stephen, we've talked about this too. As far as how Kirby is going to be presented and what that might mean for the character. I mean, is there a chance that she is going to be a Ghostface killer, or mastermind, or, and this is something that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, she may be neither. Maybe she's just affiliated with it. In other words, she's a part, of this whole scheme, but she's not necessarily a killer, and she's not the mastermind pulling all the strings. What if she's just involved, especially being with the FBI and so forth. So, but let me know what you think about that too, Stephen, if you have an opinion on that, because if it is from four, and obviously it was front and center for us to see for the teaser, obviously the images that we've seen from Entertainment Weekly. So they want us to know that there is a link, to a previous Ghostface killer. Now, I've said it even here today. Maybe this is all just a red herring and there is no particular connection. But I think that there is. I would bet that there is. So let me know what you think about that. Does this mean that Kirby could be a Ghostface killer? It could mean that. It could. Ty's in the chat too. What's going on? Saying, I'm curious if they're going to show more of Sam and Billy. It's silly, but they kind of have to commit to it now. How would they introduce it in part 5? Just abandon it in 6? Good point. Good point. I'm curious too. Of course, they could go down the route of saying that she exercised her demons enough in 5, and now she's in a better space in 6. They could do that, but yeah, they are kind of committed to it. They are kind of committed to it. Let's see. Let's see. All right. So we got some answers here. Okay. Oh, you guys are all right. Jen is saying the opening of Scream 4. Wow, worst horror movie experience. Now, Jen, you have to. Now, again, if you guys are able to, it'd be great to explain why, because I don't want to assume. I'm assuming what you mean is that it didn't live up to your expectations. And I know a lot of people, have talked about how that opening um, isn't as strong as other Scream openings. So that's what I'm assuming you mean. That's what I'm assuming you mean. Let me know if I'm wrong, though, Jen. Steven saying, my worst is the Blair Witch Project 2. Meaning, oh, okay, too much vomit in the theater. Okay. All right, man. Katie says 37 likes. Let's go. Yes, please hit the like button if you haven't. Yes, and Carrie, I remember him telling that story too. It's a good one. It's a good one. JT, Austin Powers. Oh my gosh. No, no, you didn't. Come on. Jeez. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I knew you guys would come up with some good stuff here. Ty saying the Fog remake was so bad, I left the theater after I woke up from being bored as heck. Jeepers Creepers Reborn was upsetting, even though I had no expectations. The awful CGI really hurt that movie. All right. I knew we'd probably hear about Jeepers Creepers at some point. Yes. Gina says, I still won't watch the OG Evil Dead. Saw it when I was 8 or 9 and was ill for a week due to the melting deadites. I hate mushy peas to start, but even more after that scene. Okay. I can understand that though. Danny saying, technically speaking, if this mask is from the first film, doesn't that make it Billy's and Stu's? Could be a connection between Billy, Stu, and his daughter. That's absolutely possible. Yes. Gina saying, I also won't watch The Thing because of the dogs, even though I have the DVD. Oh, well, you could skip through that scene though. That's a great movie. I mean, it is totally a gross film, but yeah. but good, as far as the technical achievements and stuff. Kyle saying, worst horror movie experience sitting through Christmas Bloody Christmas at the movie theater after finding out our local Christmas themed haunted house closed at 10 p.m. Oh, yeah, that's bad. That is bad, man. Kale saying, Jeepers Creepers 3. I love the first and the second film very much, and I was excited for the third. Haven't watched Reborn because I don't want to relive that experience of how the third went. There you go. Dominic saying, my worst is Black Christmas reboot from Blumhouse. Yeah, that is a bad one, man. Jen saying, you're wrong. I hated the opening because I thought it was stupid. Okay. All right. Yeah, there are a lot of people that aren't big fans of that opening. Steven saying, what if Dermot's daughter was actually a victim in 4 and he is wearing Jill's mask to take revenge? Kirby could be a killer, but I don't really lean that way. Yeah, I don't lean that way with Kirby either. But yeah, and I think I think we've talked about that on the collective before too, that if his daughter was a victim in 4, that definitely gives him that motive, right? So that could work. That could work. I could see that. Definitely. And that would definitely give him, his character some weight as well. I do like that. That is pretty good. Um, we'll see though. We will see. But as far as the Kirby thing, I just don't see her becoming a killer. I don't. At the very least, or I should say, at most, maybe involved in some way, either knowingly or unknowingly. Um, Not as a killer though. Maybe she, I don't know. Maybe she becomes corrupt. I don't know. But it's hard to imagine her becoming the killer. Carrie saying, was at a sleepover. They rented The Sixth Sense. Didn't know her house was actually haunted. Had my own experiences. I kind of vomited all over a sleeping bag. That was a bad night. Holy crap, Carrie! Wow, that's a story. You should definitely tell that story. Yeah, well, unless it brings back the bad memories in a bad way. But wow, that's tough. An actual haunted house. Wow. Let's see. JT saying, what? No, but that is funny as hell. Okay, so that didn't happen. I don't know. Oh my gosh. I don't blame you, Carrie. I wouldn't want to sleep at her house anymore either. Oh my gosh. Jeez. Let's see. Alex and Jack and Dermot could be a good pairing for the killers. Perhaps another way of showing someone young being exploited. Yeah, absolutely, and turned into a killer. No doubt, that could be a way to do it, and it would make sense. Yeah. Gosh, and of course, Carrie, you're too funny. Steven I love the opening of Scream 4. I know you do, man. I know you do. I think it was cool too. And it wasn't the best opening, of the 4 movies. I think it's at the bottom of the ranking for me of the 4 movies, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, you have to here's the thing, okay? And again, I've been talking about this with a lot of people in the last several days because there's just so much talk about legacy franchises. You have to change things up to some degree. Even though Scream 5, the opening was very, very effective, very well done. Of course, the fact that Tara survives, that's the difference. That's the hook that she survived. She didn't get killed. So that was great. But, the Scream can't keep opening the same exact way. I mean, put it this way, it can, but I think it just kind of it's just the pale imitation. So that's one thing I really did love about 4 is that it was so different. Yeah. Kyle saying, I don't see Kirby as a killer, but I hope she has a scene where she stabs to death one of the Ghostface killers. That would be a crazy scene. Yes, it would. Danny saying my worst horror movie experience was seeing Halloween 3 for the first time. This predated my time on the internet, and I remember being so disappointed that Michael wasn't in it. I won't watch it. Yeah, that was a bad one for me too as a kid. I was so disappointed. Yeah. Kale saying, it's my least favorite opening of the franchise, but I still like it a lot. Talking about Scream 4. Um, yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, JT coming in with for real Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Completely let down. I walked out. Whoa. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I've talked about the remake, um, many times before. And, I agree. They just didn't deliver, the way that I think that they could have, or, it just seemed like, if you're in a fork in the road and you go one way or the other, it seemed like they always took, not always, but more often than not, took the wrong way, which is too bad because it's a great character and it's a great legacy. And I just don't think they did it enough justice. So, Ty saying it's hard to say what's worse, being hyped and let down by ends or bored to death, or have to deal with shoddy CGI. Good point. Good point. I don't know, man. Being bored is a bad thing, especially for a horror movie. If you're bored, that's a really bad thing. Um, I can talk about it's cool. They didn't know it was haunted either. They couldn't even sleep upstairs because it was freezing cold. They all slept downstairs in the living room. Too many experiences. Ooh, wow, that's crazy. Oh my goodness. Mm-mm-mm. As for the Scream 4 opening, I enjoyed it. I loved all the cameos and loved the movie within a movie within a movie within a movie. It was different, wasn't the typical opening kill. I agree. Yes. Yep. And I think that it was good to try something like that, because you still got it. See, here's the thing. You still got a Scream opening, right? You still got the call and the little bit of dialogue and the chase and a kill, but then it was just twisted on its head, So I think it was very, very smart, you know. Let's see. Jen saying, okay, I didn't think you'd want to hear this, but for me, watching Halloween 1 and Friday 1 were worse than the opening of Scream 4. Wow. Okay. All right. I hear you. But yeah, no, I definitely want to know what you guys think is your worst. Now here's a question. So you're saying the worst movie you've ever seen is Halloween 1 and Friday 1. That's pretty rough. That's pretty rough because there's a lot of bad horror movies. Of course, I've seen quite a bit, and part of that is obviously being a YouTuber, but um, there's a lot of slasher movies, especially in those early 80s. You can't even watch because they're like done on like a home movie camera, and it is what it is. They didn't have a budget, but especially during the slasher movie craze, people were making movies right and left, because that's just it. They were, profitable, you know. Alex saying if the main killer is Dermot's cop character, making him a true mastermind is almost necessary. He can have power, influence, resources that no other killer has. Jack Champion could be his muscle. It could be. Could be. Let's see. Ben saying, my worst time watching a movie was Godzilla, King of the Monsters, midnight showing, packed theater with lots of little kids. Oh, geez. Yeah, that's horrible talking the whole time. Some dude put his stinky feet up on the recliner. That sucks, man. Oh my gosh. Mm-mm-mm. That sucks, man. I feel bad for you. Yeah, having a bunch of kids in the theater is no fun. No fun. JT, I had an experience with a ghost. He was a writer. See what I did there. I saw what you're doing. I heard what you're doing. Oh man. Wolf Creek was another one I found disappointing and boring. Jen saying I found them both boring. Okay. Dominic saying same thing about Friday. It was boring. JJMPB saying, "Don't go in the woods alone." 1981 terrible movie. There you go. You win because for anyone anyone that talks about a lot of these movies, maybe with the exception of Jeepers Creepers Reborn, although I haven't seen it, but I've heard so much about it. Don't go in the woods, man. Watch that movie and then tell me, what you think is your worst horror movie experience. Like the Nightmare remake is better than this. And it is what it is. It's an old movie from 81. The budget wasn't there, but I mean the kills are bad. You literally it's bad. It's bad. So I totally agree. That's a horrible movie. I mean, I know what they were trying to do, but yeah. Yeah, that was a bad, bad movie. No doubt. Okay. So those are some bad ones. Well, here's a question just to flip it around. What is your best horror movie experience? And again, you know, I'm not necessarily saying what's your favorite horror movie. I mean, if you want to talk about that, that's okay. But I'm just talking about horror movie experience. It might be a movie that you didn't think you would like that you loved. It might have been an experience you had watching a movie with a friend or family or strangers in the theater. Um, it could be tons of different things. It could be that you watched a horror movie and it inspired you to do something creative. So definitely let me know what you guys have for your best horror movie experience. And I'm going to get some more coffee and be right back in a minute. All right. Well, let's get to a couple of these answers here. Talking about the best horror movie experience that you've had. Let's see. JT saying the movie It Comes Out at Night was nothing what you might think it was going to be. Okay. Yeah, it is. It is totally different than what most people thought it would be, myself included. Yeah. Steven saying Scream 1 in the theater. Still remember that entire experience and the impact it had. Hashtag Wes Craven rules. Yeah, man. That is so cool, though. I mean, that's so cool that you saw it in the theater, too. I wish I could have seen it in the theater. Very, very cool. Absolutely. And to be able to have a great experience and to remember it and have it still be inspirational to you, man, that's the best. That's the absolute best. Very cool, dude. Very, very cool. And I know you've talked about that many times to me, and man, very, very cool. Let's see. Carrie saying, I have to say my best one was watching Scream 96 in theaters. That was an amazing moment. I was 6 when it came out, so I couldn't see it in the theaters, but seeing it now was truly a golden experience. Yeah, that's also very cool. And you got some of these legacy films that have come to the theater, especially in the last couple of years too. I think that's so cool. It really, really is. Yes. Kale saying, I love the original Friday. So many iconic moments. Yeah, I agree. A lot of iconic moments. I mean, it literally changed the slasher genre. After Friday came out, so many movies were trying to capitalize on its success and the practical effects, the killings, and so forth. And not many people, or I should say, not many movies could get to the level that Friday had started to set at that point. Yeah. Dominic saying so far Halloween Ends was the best. All right. And yes, Carrie, I know you I know you meant the anniversary showing of 1996 Scream. Jen saying the best experience for me was seeing Scream 5 in the theater because it was the only one I got to see in the theater. Okay. Yeah. No, it's when you can see a movie in the theater, to me, it just makes it so special. It really, really does. It's something that that you can remember for a long time. Let's see. Let me catch up to the chat here a little bit. All right, let's see. Gina saying, I loved Halloween OG with my parents in 80. When I was 4, it was my first slasher, and I was cuddled up to both of them. One of my best memories of my short time with them. Oh, yeah, that's a great one. That's awesome. It's awesome to have a good memory like that. JT saying, I paid for 8 friends and I to watch Freddy vs. Jason. Watching them smile brought me such joy. Yeah, that is cool. Very cool. Yeah, I remember I went with a bunch of my buddies to go see Freddy vs. Jason in theater too, and we were all just having a blast because we finally got a chance to see these two on screen together. It was a great time. It really, really was. Steven saying, why does that not surprise me, JT? That's right. Agreed. Danny saying, my best experience was seeing Halloween 2018 in theaters. Went to the midnight screening on a Thursday night, and it's cleansed my soul because the last Halloween film I saw in the theater was H2 from 2009. Right? I can definitely understand that. Yeah, 2018, I think for a lot of people was just a great experience because the franchise came back. It came back strong. They really took a lot of care in crafting it. the practical, the costume, the mask, everything, the acting, the characters. So yeah, I think that totally makes sense for me because it was a great experience when I saw it in the theaters too. Let's see. Ty saying either Freddy versus Jason in theaters or OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre in theaters. Freddy versus Jason was so great and really paid off the years of hype. TCM was intense and scary as a first time watch. Yeah. Yeah, I do really enjoy the TCM remake. It was so well done. So well done. Let's see. Too funny, too funny. Alex saying best horror experience was Nope. Yet to have a worst. All right. Very, very cool. Yeah, seeing Nope in the theater was really, really, really cool. A great experience, to have um, with an audience. Jamie's in the chat. What's up, Jamie? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Ty saying House of a Thousand Corpses and Terrifier 2 were also great experiences for me. Again, I'm going off what I've seen in theaters. Yeah. Nathan, wow, we're going old school. My best horror movie experience was watching Alice, Sweet Alice for the first time and it becoming my favorite slasher movie of all time. Now, I can appreciate that. We did our episode on Alice, Sweet Alice. A couple, well, I think it was maybe about two months ago or so on Slasher Movie Club. It is a great slasher film. It really is. It's old school. It's got great atmosphere. It's well directed. Yeah, it's really, really good. So definitely, if anyone has not seen Alice, Sweet Alice, and a lot of people haven't, because that's the thing. A lot of movies from back then, they don't get the recognition or the exposure, and even for myself, I've watched tons of movies over the years since I was a little kid, since I was like 7 years old, um, and especially 80s horror. But there's still so many that I haven't seen, or maybe haven't seen since I was little and may not remember them. So, that's why I really enjoy, especially when we do things like Slasher Movie Club, talking about movies sometimes that people have no idea what they are, but that's a great pick, man. Kel saying best horror film experience was in the theater for the Evil Dead remake. My friends and I and the whole theater were all going wild. Some cried, some got sick, but a lot cheered. That remake was good, man. It really was good. I was so impressed. Jamie saying, I told the story on Night Show already, but the best horror movie experience I had was Friday 13th Part 5. Rowdy crowd, flying popcorn, and a sense of freedom. Woohoo. It's a great story. Yeah, I mean, when you can be in the theater, and I've had this happen on a few occasions, not just for horror though, but it's cool when you have an audience that's really into the movie and having reactions. Like, that's always a fun thing. And it makes it memorable. It really, really does. But that is a great story though, Jamie. Dan saying, The Fly for me, packed theater, everyone getting grossed out and screaming. It was great. Yeah, man, The Fly. First time I saw that, man, I wasn't ready for that. But it's a great movie. One of the best remakes of all time. It truly is. I love that film so much. It was such a it's a masterpiece. It's a Cronenberg masterpiece. It really is. Kale saying another one is when my dad took me to see The Conjuring in theaters while he was drunk. He snored. People were shushing him. At the time, I was embarrassed, but we both look back and laugh now. Well, that's good that you guys could look back on it and have some fun with it. Let's see. Ben saying I went to see Paranormal Activity on a Thursday after with a few people. So bored, watching it again with some friends on that first weekend to a packed theater who was screaming and hollering. Oh, okay. All right. Was a much better experience the second time. Sometimes a hype crowd makes it better. That's true. Yeah. Michael saying, I wish I would have seen Halloween Kills in the theaters. Yeah, man. Man, when we saw it in the theaters, man, you could feel the energy. We were hyped up. It was a really cool experience seeing it on the big screen, you know. Um, the scenes where Michael was facing off against the entire universe. I mean, it was just it was just great on the big screen. It looked so good. The recreation scene from 78 was immaculate. As soon as it started to play, I was thinking, is this like unused footage? Yeah, I really thought it was from Halloween 78. And I mean, it was so well done. Everything about it. So yeah, that was a great experience for me. I wish you could have saw it in the theaters, but you never know. Sometimes movies do, come back to the theaters, or some theaters like to play older movies, especially around certain times of the year. So, maybe you'll get a chance someday. If you do get a chance, definitely try to do it. Jamie saying another best horror movie experience was seeing Army of Darkness. Ah, cool. I didn't know I was going to see an Evil Dead film until I got there. No idea at the time there was a third Evil Dead. Nice surprise. Oh, that's a good story. I like that. Sometimes getting a big surprise like that is so cool. You know, very very cool. Um, Oracle's in the chat. What's going on? Saying my best horror experience was this past October when the movie theater in town played Scream on the big screen. Well, there you go. That's cool. Very cool. I'd love to see Scream in the theater. Yeah. Let's see. And Steven saying, have to run. Bye night and bye everyone in the chat. Until next time. Thanks so much, man. I hope you're doing well and have a good rest of the day. And yeah, I'll be talking to you soon, man. Very, very cool. Let's see. Dan. Yeah. Alice Sweet Alice was a great episode of Slasher Movie Club. Maybe the best one. It was really, really good. And you were very good on that episode, man. It was a fun conversation. It really is. Yes. Danny saying, I don't know if anyone here are pro wrestling fans, but Rey Mysterio from the WCW WWE doubled. Yes, for Robert England in the pinball scene in Freddy versus Jason. Yes, indeed. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Let's see, and I just want to make sure I catch up. Gina saying I also enjoyed watching the first Power with my brother, and also his reaction to Jason Goes to Hell. His face was a picture, and he was what the fuck was that? The Hidden, right? I'm glad some other people talk about that because they literally they really borrowed that from The Hidden. According to Adam Marcus, the director, that was not intentional. And I don't know. It is what it is. But as soon as I'll never forget, because when I watched Jason Goes to Hell in the theater, as soon as they started doing the body hopping, that's the first thing that came to my mind was The Hidden. It really did. And I'm not saying that you can't borrow ideas from other movies, but it definitely didn't seem like it was something that belonged in a Friday the 13th movie. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see. Kyle saying, not sure if this counts, but it's a horror series. Interview with the Vampire, the new series, is amazing. My wife and I watched it. I never was a huge fan of the 94 film, but the series was good. All right. Yeah, that counts. That counts. Carrie saying, woke up at 3 a.m., even had an alarm set to watch Halloween Kills. Watched it on Peacock because I was so excited. Also did that for TCM 2022. Had to be quiet though. It's very hard for a horror movie geek. It's true. It's very, very true. Let's see. You guys. Let's see. I want to catch up to you guys here. Mega Giants saying my best horror movie experience in the theater has been I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, Shark Night 3D, The Call, even though it's kind of more of a thriller, Scream 4 and Scream 5. Wow, okay. Very cool. And let's see. Jamie saying, I've been missing all the fun around here. I've been wrapping presents every night this week. Christmas is great, but so much work. That's right. That is right. Hey, Omni's in the chat. And Ronnie, good to see you guys. Yeah. Michael saying, did you like that Michael showed up at the hospital in Halloween Kills? Huh. Or did you take that mic? You have to ask that again. Oh, do you think Michael showed up at the hospital in Halloween Kills? No, I don't. I don't think he did. I mean, and they were even talking about, the fact that, because that's what they thought was going to happen. But then, of course, that was when, the big reveal to Lori is that, it's not about you, so yeah. Yes, and Nathan, hope you have a good Christmas and catch you later. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, I am caught up here. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Those were some good answers. Some that I did not expect. It really, really were. Oh my gosh. But anyways, guys, we're going to be winding down here. So definitely, if you haven't hit the like, please hit the like button. And also, especially with a lot of our theories that we've been talking about for Scream, some of which we didn't get a chance to go very, very deep into, but a lot of you guys had some really, really cool thoughts. So definitely, if you guys get a chance, leave them in the comment section. That way we can continue to have a discussion on them, or we can continue the discussion on my next stream, which I'm hoping to be able to do as well. So for some of you guys, some really good thoughts, and ideas. That's the thing about this movie, is that there's going to be so much, so many different ways, I should say, that the movie can go. And I think that's one of the most interesting things about this movie. And I'm really glad, because I think with Scream, it's always about the characters. It's about the mystery. It's about how things are going to go in the story. And it really looks like this one is going to have the opportunity to do new and interesting things. I really do. I'm really, really excited about it. Kyle saying, love the Scream streams. I couldn't say that 3 times fast. I couldn't. But thank you. And Val, thank you so much for putting that in the live chat. Definitely leave a comment in the comment section. It helps out. But also, for some of you guys, with some of our thoughts, I mean, we talked a lot about, possible flashbacks. We talked about how many killers there are going to be, how many ways it could tie to the past. We're talking about Kirby. We've talked about a lot of stuff today in just a little over 2 hours. So definitely leave a comment. And like I said, either on my next stream or even in posts or social media, definitely want to have a further conversation about it as we find out more and more information, and we hear more quotes and behind the scenes stuff from Radio Silence or whoever. So it's really cool stuff. I'm really, really happy with where things are heading out for Scream 6. Looks like it's shaping up to be something really, really special. Val, thank you. Reminding people to check out the community section of the channel. Absolutely. You never know when there's some interesting stuff there, or just communicating with you guys, seeing how you guys are doing. And Gina saying, have a great Christmas and a brilliant new year. I got to get Ziggy ready for the walkies, so catch up soon. All, and much love to all. Thanks so much, Gina. And same to you. Have a great Christmas and a great new year. Hope to see you. And yeah. Mega Giant saying, I also forgot to add Halloween 2018 too. Yeah, that's a good one. Omni saying, my best movie experiences was Insidious and the Scream movies. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, hey, I will catch all of you guys next time. Thanks so much for hanging out. This was a lot of fun to do this in the morning, at least for me, that is. I'm in the morning. Some of you guys are at other times of the day. But anyways, It was fun. Let me know some more of your thoughts in the comment section. I'll catch you guys later. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.